We asked students at Santa Clara University what comes to mind when they hear the word feminism.
Some of these answers reflected the negative stereotypes about feminism.
And we're here to put those myths to the test.
Myth number 1, feminists hate men. They blame men for their problems, and their goal is to become the stronger gender.
They're not really fighting for equality.
Women are just trying to say that they're better than men or that they should get more chances.
People look at it as man-hating.
And believing that what is best for one gender automatically comes at the expense of the other.
They often try to overthrow the patriarchy or whatever that is.
Myth number 2, a feminist is a lesbian.
Humorless.
Promiscuous.
Angry.
The victim.
Feminists are not feminine.
They have diminished the importance of motherhood.
And they don't care about the family.
Being of the more extremist kind of stereotype of feminists, which is generally just crazy.
On the other hand, on the news, all I see is crazy women yelling about free the nipple and people that have abandoned all sense of personal hygiene.
Because I had the taboo connotations of what a feminist was as someone who was a short female, who had hair on her legs, and who didn't care about the societal norms or anything like that.
To put the first myth to the test, we're going to look at the definition of feminism to see if feminists really are trying to replace a male power structure with a female power structure. Feminism is a movement for the political, social, and economic equality of the genders. So by definition, feminists are fighting for equality, not superiority.
But feminists still hate men, right?
To answer this question, we went to the experts. Justin Dennis reminded us that while there are some feminists that hate men, the feminist movement as a whole doesn't hate men. He gave us a list of 6 things that feminists hate that aren't men.
Toxic masculinity,
The patriarchy,
gender roles,
sexism,
male privilege,
and misogyny. To test myth number 2, we're going to talk to the feminist organization.
But wait, feminism is not a single organization or a single face. In fact, feminism is a movement designed to rethink and reshape the plans of actions for every person, for every identity.
Feminism is a movement that both men and women can identify with. Third wave feminism, for example, is a body of theory which emphasizes the plurality of stories. Each woman is different, and each story is different.
Even though we are all fighting for equality, there are still contradictions within our movement, and that's okay.
Roxanne Gay said, feminism can be pluralistic so long as we respect the different feminisms we carry with us, so long as we give enough of a damn to try to minimize the fractures among us.
Rather than defining a set of rules for how women should act, feminism is about giving women a choice to act how they want without being negatively impacted by structural inequalities or stigmatized when they do.
Our role should be a choice, not a predestined place in society.
It should be a woman's choice whether or not she wants to be a stay-at-home mom or the president. As Jessica Valenti says, enough with the double standards that label men as
Super dads
and women as
shitty moms
when they have a job and raise children at the same time.
We've come so far, you might be thinking, why do we need feminism?
Or maybe you're asking, what possibly is still needed?
You may personally feel like you're equal to men, so maybe you're asking yourself, what's the point?
The thing is, not every woman feels the same way. Not every woman has the same privileges or access to the same opportunities. So we stand in line to the movement until equality reaches every individual from every walk of life.
It is important to remember that a cisgender woman experiences oppression in different ways than a transgender woman experiences oppression.
For example, when we look at popular culture today, a transgender woman is much more likely to be made the joke of the show or the one who is tragically killed off.
By not having respect for transgender people within popular culture, society tends to mirror transphobic behaviors.
On top of that, people within the trans community are expected to act like how transgender characters are portrayed in movies or TV.
It's simply what society expects. We have to remember that there are ever-shifting oppressions,
Identities,
cultures,
classes,
genders,
races,
and so much more that set each of us apart from the next person.
Yes, feminism is messy,
Even contradictory at times.
but it provides an important foundation for social change.
As we have established, anyone can be a feminist, especially since it's such an inclusive movement. Feminism is a framework for living, not just activism.
There are so many feminist issues out there that it might seem overwhelming to become a part of the movement.
So we made a step-by-step guide to help you out.
Step number 1. Recognize your privilege and work to understand the systematic inequalities.
Each identity is tied to different forms of privilege and oppression.
So the intersection of each of these identities makes every woman's experience different from the next.
So while we all experience forms of oppression as women, this experience is different for every part of our identity. Step number 2. Listen to what others are saying and educate yourself on a range of perspectives and analyses of oppression.
Everyday feminism is here to help. Step number 3. If you see or hear an injustice, speak up.
You can even start small with saying something like, "That's not cool."
Step number 4. Understand that there is no perfect feminist and it's okay to make mistakes.
Identify times when your privilege may have blinded you and understand where you've made mistakes. Step number 5. Self-reflect and think about how you can improve.